Welcome back to Poorly Educated Today in the News. It is Sunday, December 14th, 2025. And today's news cycle is one of those where everything feels like it's happening at once. Domestic crises, global conflicts, policy deadlines, and stories that range from complicated to deeply serious. We're going to start with policy and politics, move through global developments, and later in the episode, address a couple of tragic events that deserve a more measured tone. Let's get into it. Segment 1: The Healthcare Cliff Nobody Built a Guardrail For. Right now, millions of Americans are staring straight at what policy experts are calling the healthcare cliff, which sounds dramatic until you realize it's actually worse than that. Enhanced Affordable Care Act subsidies are set to expire at the end of this year, and if Congress does nothing, premiums are projected to skyrocket starting January. We're talking about families seeing monthly costs double, not slowly rise, not creep up, just jump like a deer hearing banjo music in the woods. According to estimates, between 3 and 5 million people could lose coverage entirely. Hospitals are bracing for billions in unpaid care. And the solution so far from Washington has been the traditional one: arguing loudly while the clock runs out. Republicans say extending subsidies hides the true cost of Obamacare. Democrats say letting them expire will blow a hole in household budgets. And meanwhile, regular people are doing math at their kitchen tables, realizing healthcare is once again becoming a luxury item. Enrollment is actually up slightly, because nothing motivates Americans like impending disaster. It's like a Black Friday sale, except instead of TVs, it's insulin. Segment 2: Redistricting, or how maps became political weapons. As if healthcare wasn't enough, the political knife fight over redistricting is heating up ahead of the 2026 midterms. Republicans are pushing mid-decade map redraws in states like Texas, Ohio, and North Carolina, trying to lock in House seats before voters get a say. This is no longer about fair representation. This is political gerrymandering with the confidence of someone rearranging monopoly money while insisting it's legal tender. Texas is ground zero, where demographic shifts and Latino voter turnout are making the math way less predictable than party leaders hoped. Democrats have been overperforming in special elections, and suddenly districts that looked safe are looking awkward. Even in red states like Indiana, Republican lawmakers have balked at overly aggressive maps, proving that sometimes the call is coming from inside the House. The fight now isn't just left versus right. It's whether elections still reflect voters or just whoever held the pen last. Segment 3: Ukraine, Russia, and diplomacy that sounds like talking to a wall. Over in Berlin, diplomats are attempting once again to find a path out of the war in Ukraine. The U.S. delegation arrived with proposals. Ukraine showed up with red lines. Russia showed up with demands that sound suspiciously like surrender wrapped in formal language. Moscow wants Ukraine to withdraw from key regions and accept Russian control disguised as peacekeeping. Ukraine says absolutely not. Europe nods politely while bracing for winter energy shortages. Meanwhile, Russia is hammering Ukrainian infrastructure, knocking out power to millions as temperatures drop. Ukraine responds with drone strikes deep into Russian territory, proving this war is no longer contained to neat lines on a map. This isn't just a military stalemate, it's a humanitarian one, where civilians are freezing while diplomats argue about wording. Segment 4: Venezuela, Borders, and Pressure Campaign Politics. The Trump administration is also escalating rhetoric toward Venezuela, threatening land-based operations tied to drug trafficking routes. Opposition leader Maria Corina Machado has publicly backed increased pressure, arguing it's the only way to break Maduro's grip. This is the kind of foreign policy moment where everyone claims they want peace, but nobody wants to stop squeezing. The danger, as always, is escalation without an exit ramp. At the same time, closer to home, a coalition of states is suing the administration over a proposed $100,000 fee for H-1B visas. Tech companies, hospitals, and universities say it would effectively kill the program. The lawsuit argues it's not immigration reform, it's an economic chokehold. And once again, the courts are being asked to clean up what Congress didn't finish. Segment 5. Brown University shooting and the limits of campus safety. Later in the week, the national conversation took a darker turn with a deadly shooting at Brown University in Providence, Rhode Island. On Saturday afternoon, during final exams, a gunman opened fire inside the Barris and Hawley building, which houses engineering and physics classrooms. 2 students were killed, and 9 others were injured, several critically. The attack unfolded quickly, forcing students to barricade themselves in classrooms and hide while law enforcement responded. The suspect fled the scene on foot, triggering a large multi-agency manhunt involving local police, state authorities, and the FBI. As of Sunday, the primary suspect had not been formally charged, and officials clarified that while a person of interest had been detained, the investigation remains ongoing. University officials canceled all remaining final exams and academic requirements for the semester, acknowledging the emotional toll on students, faculty, and staff. The campus was placed under a shelter-in-place order for several hours, which has since been lifted, though a heavy police presence remains. The shooting has once again raised difficult questions about campus safety, emergency preparedness, and how institutions respond to active threats in densely populated academic environments. It has also reignited conversations across universities nationwide, with other campuses increasing security as a precaution, even without specific threats. This wasn't just a tragedy for one school. It was another reminder of how quickly routine spaces can become scenes of violence, and how institutions, law enforcement, and communities are still struggling to find lasting answers. Segment 6. Sydney attack and the global rise of targeted hate violence. Internationally, attention has also focused on a deadly attack in Sydney, Australia, where a Jewish religious celebration at Bondi Beach was deliberately targeted. The event, marking the first night of Hanukkah, was attended by families and community members when gunmen opened fire from an elevated position overlooking the gathering. At least 11 people were killed, and many others injured. Authorities later confirmed the discovery of an explosive device linked to the attackers, indicating the assault was planned and coordinated. One suspect was killed at the scene by police, while another was apprehended and remains hospitalized under guard. Australian officials have classified the incident as a terrorist attack motivated by anti-Semitism. World leaders, including those from the United States, Israel, and the United Kingdom, condemned the violence and expressed solidarity with the Jewish community. What has resonated deeply is not only the loss of life, but the targeting of a public religious celebration, a space meant to be open, visible, and safe. The attack has prompted increased security at Jewish institutions worldwide and renewed concerns about the spread of extremist violence beyond national borders. While investigations continue, the broader implication is clear. Acts of hate-driven violence are no longer confined to specific regions or conflict zones. They are increasingly global, adaptive, and aimed at civilian gatherings, challenging governments to rethink how public safety and community protection are handled in open societies. Segment 7. Cold weather, football, and the American ability to compartmentalize. Back at home, an Arctic blast has slammed the Northeast, activating emergency cold weather protocols as wind chills drop below zero. Shelters are opening, power grids are strained, and people are being reminded that winter is still undefeated. Yet somehow, life continues. NFL playoff races are heating up. Navy beat Army by 1 point in a game that felt like it came from a different era. Dick Van Dyke just turned 100 years old, proving joy can outlast chaos if you're stubborn enough. This is the American condition in a nutshell. Tragedy, policy failure, sports highlights, and cultural milestones all happening at once. And we're expected to emotionally process it while folding laundry. In conclusion, December 14th, 2025, didn't offer clean narratives or easy answers. It offered reality. Messy, fast-moving, and unforgiving. From healthcare uncertainty to global conflict, from targeted violence to political power struggles, this is what a full news cycle looks like when nothing takes a day off. The challenge now isn't just reacting to the news, it's deciding what kind of country and what kind of world we're willing to accept as normal. Because history isn't slowing down, and neither are the consequences. That's it for today. We'll be back tomorrow. Try to stay warm, stay informed, and take care of each other.